Hey everyone, I'm doing another tier list. I haven't done one of these in ages, have I? That's a joke, because that's all I do now. But today, we're gonna rank all the Pikachu clones. I have a couple of rules though first before we get into it, and a lot of you aren't gonna be happy about this for this. I don't consider Marill and Mimikyu Pikachu clones, okay? And I'm gonna explain why. First off, every Pikachu clone has one thing in common. Well, a couple things, sorry. They're all electric types. They all have cheeks on their... Well, obviously, they have cheek pouches. And they all represent their generation in some way. And Marill is a water type, and it doesn't represent Generation 2 in any way. I know when it was first, revealed, people called it Pika Blue because it looked like Pikachu, but, it's not a Pikachu clone, guys. Please stop saying it. I know it did technically get Azurill in Generation 3, which represents breeding and the friendship evolution method, but that's in Gen 3. And Gen 3 wasn't even planned back then, so this is just Generation 2, alright? Marill's not a Pikachu clone. And Mimikyu's kind of a weird one as well, because at least you can say Marill's a rodent, but Mimikyu's not even that. Mimikyu is a Pokemon that dresses up as Pikachu. It's not a Pokemon that's related to Pikachu like the other ones are. Think of it like how ferrets and weasels are related to each other. I think that's a good analogy. So yeah, Mimikyu is just a Pokemon that dresses up as Pikachu to get attention. And Marill is... while it's a rodent, so technically it is related to them, it's not a Pikachu clone because it's not an electric type and it doesn't represent its region in any way. Okay? So those are my two exceptions here. But we still got plenty of other Pikachu clones, so let's get into it. So, in D tier, we only have one, Palmo. I'm sorry, but Palmo is one of the laziest evolutions I've ever seen in my life. It's literally just Palmy on 2 feet. That's it. I know there are other Pokemon, like Torracat, when they evolved to Cinnamoroar, that go on 2 feet, but at least Incineroar looks completely different from Torracat, you know? They're similar, sure, but they look completely different. But Palmy and Palmo are literally the same Pokemon. Literally. A bit spoiler, but at least Palmo has different hair, and so you can kind of give it some that, but Palmo is just Palmy on 2 legs, and I don't like it. It's genuinely one of the laziest evolutions. So all the people that say the Dunsparce is a lazy evolution, this right here is a lazy evolution, okay? But anyway, moving on, in the C tier, we have Plusle and Minun. I don't hate Plusle and Minun like I do with Palmo, but they're nothing special, really. They're just Pikachu, but, with blue and red ears. And I get they're meant to represent the opposite sides of a battery, and the way they represent Generation 3 I like, because Generation 3 was the first generation to have double battles, and since they're a pair, they're for the double battles. So yeah, I like to think they're based on the Pichu brothers though, because, that'd be cute. But, yeah, the others at least look different enough from Pikachu, but these are literally just, literally Pikachu clones. They're not distinct enough for me. But anyway, Togedemaru. So... I do like Togedemaru. I think it's cute, but it's a ball, you know. I think it's based on a hedgehog, I want to say, or I'm not sure. And this thing here, I don't know if that's a tail or a spike, but it's kind of weird. I do like the Togedemaru in Ultra Sun and Moon. I recently replayed Ultra Sun and Moon. It was much more enjoyable than I remember it. But yeah, and the way it represents the way it represents Generation 7. I'm kind of stretching it with this one, but the way I see it is that when it's this shape, it looks like the moon, but when it puts its spikes out, when it's using its attacks, it looks like the sun. But one of my friends pointed out that if you did include Mimikyu, then Mimikyu is a ghost type like Lunala, and then Togedemaru is a steel type like Solgaleo. So if Mimikyu counted, I'd be like, yeah, but I don't count Mimikyu as a Pikachu clone, so that's how I'm justifying it. But yeah, like I said, Palma is so much better than Palmo. Not as good as Palmy, but yeah. Their names are so lazy as well, but, that's whatever. Now, I'm gonna say this, because I was gonna save it for Palmy, but I might as well say it now. So, the way that the Palmy line represents Generation 9 is its evolution method, because there's this new, walking thing. Well, no, Pokemon have been walking in every Switch game, technically, but... that's how it evolves for the new feature where, you can actually send your Pokemon out to attack out of its Pokeball while it walks with you. Because you couldn't do that in the previous generations. So, yeah. That's how it represents, Generation 9, because it evolves through that method. Which I do like. But, yeah, Palmo is a lot better than Palmo. But they're not as good as Pichu. Yeah. Pichu represents Generation 2 because it's a baby form. Technically, it's not a clone. It is actually an evolution, but... I'm counting Pikachu and its evolutions, spoiler alert, as for this because I think, it'd be weird not to include them, to be honest. So yeah. And plus, the Pikachu clones are just as much clones of Pichu and Raichu as they are of Pikachu, so yeah, they're all electric rodents and they're all family, so I don't see an issue here. But Pikachu is adorable, I love it. I have a Pichu plushie. I only have one Pichu plushie. I have like 8 Pikachu plushies. And I'm kind of sick of Pikachu, to be honest. Well, I was sick of Pikachu, but we'll get there. But anyway, after that is Emolga. Emolga is adorable. I love Emolga. I also have an Emolga plushie somewhere. I don't know if you can see it. No, you can't. Emolga represents its generation because, its color scheme is literally black and white. It's from Pokemon Black and White. That's not hard. It's also the only one that's a flying type. I mean, it's not the only dual type because Palma and Togedemaru are dual types, and there's a couple other dual type ones as well. In fact, every Pikachu clone since Generation 5 has been a dual type. I just realized that. But yeah, Emolga is cute. Obviously, it has yellow wings, so it's not entirely black and white, but, they had to add some yellow to make the electric typing, Plus, they all have cheeks, so, like I said. So, yeah. The Emolga in the anime was a little diva, though. I loved her so much. Anyway, Palmy. Palmy is so much better than its evolutions. Like I said, how it represents Gen 9, but, yeah. Although it does look more like a electric chihuahua than an electric rodent. I don't know if anyone else sees that, but I do. But, yeah. Again, I just wish you had a better middle stage evolution. Maybe, I kind of wish you only evolved into Palmot, to be honest. Like, that would have been even cooler, Because Palmot looks different enough from Palmy, in my opinion. So, did we really need Palmo? Like, did we? Anyway, how could I have not included Pikachu? Come on. Pikachu is the mascot of all the Pokemon. It's the most iconic Pokemon. Now, Pikachu, I wouldn't really say represents Gen 1 in any way because this is before they even came up with the concept of making their own Pikachu per generation, so I don't really know how it represents Generation 1. I mean, it represents all of Pokemon. I feel like that in itself is representative enough. And you can see him over there, Captain Pikachu. That Pikachu is awesome. He brought my love for Pokemon back single-handedly. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, I think I've already said this, but Pokemon Horizons, I think I needed that. Pokemon needed to be revamped like that. Like, I love Pokemon again. Because I've said it before, but I stopped making Pokemon content for 2 years. And once I watched Pokemon Horizons, it brought my spark for Pokemon back. And Captain Pikachu's brought my spark for Pikachu back. Unpopular opinion, but he's better than Ash's Pikachu. Yeah. So yeah, Pikachu is the mascot, but I can't rank him any higher because he's everywhere. Everywhere you look when it comes to Pokemon, it's Pikachu. So yeah. Alright, time for the S rank, and we're starting with Morpeko. I should have included Morpeko's other form, because it has 2 forms. This is when it's full, but when it's hangry, it turns evil. And then, once you feed it again, it becomes happy again. It represents its Generation 8 because I did do research, and the only reason I could find it representing Generation 8 is its move. I don't remember what it's called, but it basically makes a hamster wheel out of electricity and fires it at you. But the move is the same color as the Sword and Shield logos, so that's what I'm saying how it represents Generation 8. I'm gonna put a picture of its hangry mode here so you can see it, because I think you need to see it, and I should have included it, but yeah. I really love it so much. It's so relatable. The most relatable Pokemon in the world, probably. Anyway, Dedenne. So, for the longest time, Dedenne actually was one of my favorite Pokemon. I don't like it as much now, but it used to be part of my Kalos team until I changed up my teams when I redrew them a while ago. And if you want a video about me talk about my teams, I'll totally do that. That'd be fun. But, yeah, Dedenne represents Generation 6 because it's a fairy type. That was the generation that introduced the fairy type, so yeah. And if you look closely, its whiskers are based on antenna. I don't know if you can see that. The Pokemon's lore is that it goes through people's houses and chews their wires so it can absorb the electricity, so that's really cute. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but all the Pikachu clones keep their Japanese names. Because usually they change Pokemon names when they dub them in English, but all the Pikachu clones keep their Japanese names, I think. I don't know about Palmy, to be honest, but the rest definitely do. I mean, Dedenne, Togedemaru, those are Japanese names right there. Anyway, so this is the next one is the best Pikachu clone, but it's not the best like electric rodent. You'll see, you'll understand. Pachirisu, like how could I not put Pachirisu in S tier? I think everyone can simultaneously agree that Pachirisu is the best Pikachu clone. The video's not finished, by the way, so if you don't know, Pachirisu was the first Pikachu clone, and not the first one. The first ones were Plus and Minun, technically, but it was the first Pikachu clone to travel with Ash in the anime, so it left an impact on me. It was the first Pikachu clone I ever saw, because I got into Pokemon for the Generation 4 anime. And it was also the first one not based on a mouse, it's based on a squirrel, as you can see. And I just love it so much. It was a little shit in the anime, and it was so cute. And obviously I need to talk about the obvious. In 2014, so 11 years ago, it won the championship in the actual Pokemon League, like the real Pokemon League that happens when they play the games against each other. Like, this little squirrel won an actual event in real life. So, yeah. So I think that's the reason we can all agree it's the best Pikachu clone. And also, just in case you're wondering, it represents Generation 4 because Generation 4 was the first generation, not including Generation 1 with Nidoran, it was the first generation to introduce gendered Pokemon. So, for example, a male Pikachu has a straight tail, but a female Pikachu has a heart-shaped tail. And Pachirisu, aside from Pikachu, is the only Pikachu clone that has a gender difference. Because this is the male one, its stripe goes down its face, but then the female one's stripe just goes up to its ears. So yeah, Pachirisu is my favorite Pikachu clone. But it's not my favorite electric rodent because Raichu, of course, and Alolan Raichu as well. Well, you didn't think I was going to include one and not the other. Raichu is the best of, even though it's not a Pikachu clone because it's an evolution of Pikachu, it's still the best of them all. And I think you all know why. Because of my show, Pokemon Squad, that was single-handedly the only reason why I like Raichu more than Pikachu. Because I used to love Pikachu, it used to be one of my favorite Pokemon, and I used to love it more than Raichu, but once my Pikachu evolved... Also, here's a little behind-the-scenes fact. I only evolved it because my mom asked me to, because the Pikachu plushie I had was dirty. That is actually true. So, thanks, Mom. You made me love Raichu more than Pikachu. Thank you so much. But yeah, anyway. So, when I first evolved it, I wasn't really sure about it, but when I kept using it and kept seeing Raichu, I was just like, yeah, I like Raichu more than Pikachu. And then when Let's Go came out, I immediately evolved my Raichu. I'm kidding, I didn't immediately evolve it. I let learning attacks it needed to first, and then evolved it. And now he is part of my Kanto team forever. Oh, yeah. Like, I would say Eevee's my favorite Kanto Pokemon, but Raichu is such a close second. Like, it's not even, like, wow. And Alolan Raichu is cool as well. I didn't use Alolan Raichu in my Sun and Moon team, but I do really love it. My favorite Alola form is Ninetales, so I use Ninetales. And I think my second favorite is Raichu, but look, it's surfing on its tail. That is so cool. It's not a water type though, it's a psychic type because it actually floats on its tail, it doesn't actually surf, but yeah. And it's actually based on, there's an episode of the anime where like they meet a surfing Pikachu that has blue eyes. So as you can see, since it's a surfer and has blue eyes, it's based on that Pikachu, so that's really cool. I think that's a cool detail. So yeah, Raichu is easily the best of all the Pikachu clones, and no one will ever change my mind. But anyway, that's my ranking of all the Pikachu clones. Let me know who your favorite is in the comments down below, and please do not comment that Mimikyu and Meryl are missing, because I will generally block you. And I'll see you all next time. Bye!